The big screen at the Results Operations Center. This as the results continue to come in. Earlier, lots of talk of lower voter turnout, the ANC's poor election showing, and coalitions. eNCA elections analyst Jan-Jan Joubert has been tracking the numbers since the results started coming in. In fact, he's been tracking all of this since it all started. Jan-Jan, I just want to get, we're about to wrap tonight up. What's been your biggest takeaway today? Anything stood out for you today?
Yes, I think what goes around comes around. In the end, if you govern poorly, you're going to be punished. And if you govern well, you're going to be rewarded.
You had a little bit earlier on Treasurer General of the ANC, Paul Mashatile, saying, listen, you know what, he actually pointed at Eskom and says that's one of the reasons we're being punished for.
Personally, I'm shocked.
Why are you shocked?
Well, I mean, the point here is that the ANC itself was complaining to and about Eskom not a week ago. And now it becomes another reason. The reason why the ANC is faring poorly tonight and fared poorly yesterday is entirely its own fault. And the moment it starts self-reflecting, things might improve for it. This goes for all of us, Tony, does it not? That when things go badly, it's often not the world that's at fault. It might well be yourself.
Okay, we're getting very philosophical.
No, I'm very, very tired.
Very, very tired. Listen, let's talk about the numbers. The last numbers we just saw, ANC 46.3%. These are the national averages as well, the national percentages, DA 22.39%. EFF, let's stop there, 10.6% at the present moment. What's your take on the EFF showing? We've been speaking a lot about the DA.
They will go up. If we could have a look, we can't, but if we were to have had a look at the areas which have not reported back, then it's Limpopo and Northwest. Those are the two strongest EFF provinces. And we will see their showing improve, as will that of the IFP.
The Good Party, you were a bit surprised as well, and I'm just focusing on the overall picture here of what's happened today. On that leaderboard, you had the Patriotic Alliance on top of the Good Party, and for you, that seemed to surprise you when we were in studio. Why was that? It
was surprising to me. It speaks of very good organisation by the Patriotic Alliance. We saw that in Drakenstein, actually, where, of course, the Patriotic Alliance being a northern-based party, the people from the Western Cape look askance at anything that comes from the north. And Patriotic Alliance was another of those examples. And the Good Party fielded a strong candidate in Drakenstein, former Springbok coach Peter de Villiers. In the end, the Good Party, I've just seen the final results for Drakenstein, only won 4 seats in a council of, I think it's 65. So the point here is that the Good Party did not have a good result. We will see their lot improve because Cape Town is outstanding and they'll score some of those there. And of course, the third largest municipality in the Western Cape, George, is still outstanding. They are hoping to do well there. My feedback from the town of George is that we will actually probably see a DA Freedom Front coalition in the town of George. And you were speaking earlier to our colleague Aisha in Cape Town, I think it was, on coalitions. And she was speaking of the many hung councils in Western Cape. Now, there are some of these councils which we would in the Western Cape just call a demarcaarspel, where you absolutely cannot see the wood for the trees. It's a complete mess. Theewaterskloof, Witzenberg, Oudtshoorn, I don't know how anyone's going to govern. But in many of those councils, like Saldanha Bay, Cape Agulhas and George, the Freedom Front in the Western Cape campaigned on a platform of helping the Democratic Alliance, which I thought weird. Why do you ask people to vote for you so that you can help someone else? Clearly, the people of the Western Cape, who sometimes tend to be otherwise, bought that. Actually, those councils are hung councils, but the outcome is not in doubt.
Okay, so, we saw Slindelo talking to, I think, interviewed 2 people from the Freedom Front Plus, and they're plain, simple English. We are not going to be in a coalition with the EFF or the ANC. I think one of their officials cited BEE as one of the reasons they won't do that. So there's only one way they can go, and that's got to be the DA and Action SA. Do you see that happening?
Yes, I do see that happening. The people you are referring to, Limpopo leader of the Freedom Front Plus, Marcel Maritz, who stood her ground there in Polokwane, and the national chair, he's no longer national chair, but still Western Cape leader of the Freedom Front Plus, Dr. Corné Mulder. Their point was not working with the EFF, not working with the ANC in plain, simple English, and yes, they do speak English. But the point is that opens the door. And that discussion that was had at the ROC with the spokesperson for Action SA opens the door in Tshwane for a coalition government. I've done my sums and they're just short, but they could get there with a few other parties between the Democratic Alliance, Freedom Front Plus, Action SA and the ACDP.
And just to wrap it up as well, another big winner for today has got to be the IFP.
The Inkatha Freedom Party has had the day of its life. It's their best result since 1999. They have ventured, I think, also with discussion in the ROC in Durban, which our colleague had with that small party from Greytown, the ABC, I think.
Yeah, it was the ABC, yes.
The ABC,
the ABC,
yes. I want to buy to Congress, I think it was.
Yeah.
And they basically gave every signal that they would be working with the IFP in the Mvoti municipality in Greytown. So maybe the IFP could cross the Tugela right there at Tugela Ferry and get into the south of the province.
That's a beautiful river, by the way. So listen, it's all pointing. You know, there's so many things that could happen. You know, there's still everything must be wrapped up within a couple of weeks. We'll know exactly who's who and what's happening as well.
Yeah. And they have 10 days after the results have been verified. Now, those results should probably be verified by Friday or Saturday.
Yeah.
Then the horse trading starts. They have 10 days to wrap that up, and then we'll know.
I want to put this on the table as quickly as I can. The other winner here has got to be, this people's choice. People going out and actually making,
indeed,
different choices. I'm going to choose somebody who's campaigning. They live, down my road. They know exactly the things I go through every single day. That is what's happening in some of these areas.
Yes, to a very large extent. Also, to a limited extent. I mean, let's not fool ourselves. The vast majority, almost all councils will be won by the large parties, and we will see what the impact of these smaller groupings might be, because in the Western Cape we know them all too well. And many of those groupings are a good example, perhaps, and I do not know the background about their demise, but you will remember a party called the Bushbuck Ridge Residents Association. Which
you're assuming I remember the I'm
okay,
joking.
You might.
Yeah.
Anyway, they did very well, and I don't quite know what's become of them, but they no longer feature. We've had many in the Western Cape as well. Perhaps it would become parties like some of the other small parties which have grown, the Patriotic Alliance being an example. But the point here is, and this is what I like about what you said, it was the citizens' choice. And that means you have to be in it to win it. So next time, all of you who complain and stay at home and I don't want to vote, you can't win it if you're not in it. Next time, vote.
It can also be a form of protest.
It
Surely
could be a form of protest.
It can also be.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
But is it a successful form of protest? What is achieved?
Well, we'll find out. We'll see. We'll see. Thank you, Jan-Jan, for keeping me company tonight. And we'll see what happens. Of course, you're back with us tomorrow. We'll have a much clearer picture of what's going on in terms of the vote count itself. That's elections analyst Jan-Jan Joubert.